You have my complete attention.
Lord Captain? It is wise for a rogue trader to have caches where they can safely store important information. And utterly unwise to share the coordinates of such caches with anyone, even one's most trusted associates. I'm afraid I do not know how to find the caches, but I can offer some help. Your predecessor used this numeric code to deactivate certain defense systems in her service. If I know Lady Theodora as well as I think, then I'm quite certain that she left her caches well guarded. In that case, this code will be useful to you.
Me? Not a clue, Lord Captain. I don't know who Lady Theodora would have told about a thing like that, but it definitely wasn't me. Why would you whisper that to me now? Why? Lord Captain, I don't know anything about caches or Lady Theodora's secrets, but the voices have just reminded me about something. I was once given the chance to try some real wine. Lady Theodora gave me some. Not just any old synthetic booze, but her favorite plonk. She always drank it in her palace. It was golden in color, and its name was Flame of Purity. A silly name, but the flavor was so intense, and like nothing I'd ever tasted before or since. Apologies. It's probably not important, but I don't know anything more than that. Of course.
The Omniscient knows all. Comprehend. May your
Allow me to thank you again for helping me with the cargo, Shireen. I am sure the Ashmags who squirreled away my goods won't give up so easily, and I'll hear more about their scheming yet. Let's strike a deal, Shireen. I will watch your back, if you do me a favor and watch mine. Well, enough jokes. Is there something you wanted? No truer words have ever been said. I'm far more exciting than some small-time peddlers from Footfall. Allow me to introduce myself properly. I am Jae Amira Fatqin Tamiri Ash Ifrit, the 12th daughter of the Lord of Ifrit, a distant world at the fringes of the Imperium. The youngest child is destined to become a bargaining chip in the family's political games. But I was unwilling to accept such a fate, and wanted to choose what to become and which path to follow. When I learned the Exalted One watches over hundreds of other worlds amidst distant stars, I understood there was an entire world of opportunities beyond Ifrit. All I had to do was break the familial bonds tying me down and escape the planet. Which I did a long time ago. The Keronis Expanse. A gorgeous name, isn't it? But this backwater wasn't my original destination when I escaped, Sherin. Oh no, it was the rumors of incredible freedom that brought me to the Coronis Expanse. Freedom that is generously bestowed upon everyone who can survive in these parts. All doors are open here. You can become a saint, a mogul, a kingmaker, or anyone you like, really. Here, hard work pays off. Unless you're used to lying by the roadside and complaining instead of toiling for the good of your soul, glory, wallet, or whatever floats your boat. I'm used to working hard, and so I found my blessing. I convinced my father I personally wished to oversee the inspection of imported goods. I had to get experience so I wouldn't bring shame on our family, didn't I? I made friends with traders, missionaries, and soldiers at the port. I listened to their stories, studied the charts, learned what documents I had to forge to escape the planet. A kind word here, a shiny coin there. And here I am, in the iron belly of a ship, braving the void in search of a new life. Consider it a mark of my trade. This year, Xenos, dumb-headed orcs. Who knew that we weren't the only ones to get tempted by the wreck of that raider? As for this treasure, I received it as a reward for a life that had been just a little too good. I was in a hurry to get to the Adeptus Amasacus after the Exalted One blessed me with immense wealth. I was 2 backstreets away from the den when a pathetic ashmag attacked me, envious of somebody else's fortune. All relationships are based on mutual trust. That goes for business too. It is difficult not to be aware of the powers that be, especially ones like Lord Captain Theodora. But we never met personally, as the difference between our positions was far too great. Theodora was a mighty ruler, the center of her own universe. And I, a pathetic commoner, was nothing next to her. But you were kind to me, Sherin. And in my eyes, that puts you above your esteemed aunt, or whoever she was to you. My trade means knowing the right people and non-people, having the right connections, and making sure the precious goods find their way into the hands of my no less precious customers. My wisdom includes the knowledge of the enemies of humankind, be they Xenos or the lowest scum of the Imperium, as well as the latest knowledge about how they charge for any particular curio at the footfall market. Not even the most cunning Argenta will deceive you as long as I am with you, Sherin. I promise you that. Whatever I have can be yours too, if your unfathomable wealth isn't enough for you already, I mean. Thank you, Sherin. Being able to read and write is chief among them. You may not be aware, but this science is beyond the abilities of billions of the Imperium subjects. And yet they happily keep drudging along in their factories, fundi, and assembly lines. Me? I didn't escape Ifrit to consign myself to such misery. It was literacy that paved my path to copied orders, forged signatures, counterfeited papers. The wonderful things that make the wheels of bureaucracy turn in the right direction. Compared to the rabble on footfall, perhaps. Compared to you. Be it power or money, I still have a long way to go. I could purchase one of Footfall's asteroids, but not a planet. I could subjugate a few gangs from the shady districts, but not Vladium. And so the answer to your question is no. I do not consider myself rich. I am not rich enough. You're fun to talk. I grew tired of scribing endless contracts and agreements neatly tucked away on Footfall. Well, I did that for how many years? But here, among the stars, you are always balanced on a knife edge. Nothing thrills me more than the tension of a warp jump, or the danger that lurks around every corner on a planet. Footfall was beginning to make me fat and stupid, Sherin. I do not want that. Do I trust the trickster twins? By the Exalted One, no. The underhanded rogues of Footfall came up with that name for a reason. The tricks of those frenzied ashmags are all about things far more intriguing than the honest and law-abiding subjects of the Imperium can imagine. On the other hand, this is why I am keeping them close. Kor and Tora know who lifted them out of the cesspit proudly called the Shadow Quarters, and who has been feeding that ravenous beast their insatiable lust for lucre. No, they are not going to betray me if only because they know I am now a part of your entourage, Shireen. They're not going to let the biggest pie in the Imperium pass them by without trying to get a slice for themselves. Vicious, cruel, dangerous beasts. Humans hold little interest for Xenos. We are entertainment for them, a means to keep boredom at bay. A commodity. But some of them contact us once in a while using their own people. Do not deceive yourself by thinking you are safe because there are no Xenos inside. Those Agi are as cunning as they are ruthless. They cleverly pull at the strings of spies and traitors, subjugate those who do not fall for the promised reward, transform the ones who resist their promises into soulless puppets. The Emperor watches over me, and that is why I still haven't succumbed to the fate of many of my associates who have lost their lives to the stringy scoundrels. It has been known to happen. After years of dealing with Xenos, I've learned their customs, and even got a grasp of their language. Except they cringe whenever I start speaking. Arrogant sods. They dislike even our voices, but they never turn away our valuables. Then again, I'm used to seeing sour faces. In this trade, the easily offended go out of business. I have no doubt you will have to deal with Xenos sooner or later. When that time comes, Shireen, you will thank the Exalted One for sending me to stand at your side. I think we've said all there is to say on this topic. The dark side is the real Coronis Expanse, if you ask me. But what do you want to know about it, Shireen? Dynasty heirs drink with criminals. Rogue traders strike deals with the Casbalica. And dozens of ships stop off for a welcome break from a long voyage. Is there a more beautiful place in the entire Imperium? The Emperor is merciful to the meek and the powerful alike. There's a job for everyone as long as they have a head on their shoulders. And if you feel like talking to him in person, the statue of the Exalted One can be seen from any asteroid. You can pray to your heart's content. An ancient crime cartel that originated with the first settlers of the Calixis sector. It is run by shadowy clans with robber barons at the helm. Cross their path, and you risk making enemies all over the Coronis Expanse, or even the entire Imperium. As for the agents, they are just shameless, greedy scum. Every third person on Footfall is a Casbalican, but that doesn't mean all that rotten filth is acting together. I've been set up more than once just so some Casbalican can get one over on his rivals. And yet, the Casbalica is generous to its customers, if you can afford it. Anything can be obtained, organized, and transported for the right price. The customer is always right, unless they happen to be a rat. In which case... What gave you such an outrageous idea? Was it my immaculate garment? My gorgeous jewelry? Do not worry, Shireen. I will let you know once I become a baroness, should the Exalted One will it. Just imagine the strong and fruitful alliance that could be forged between a rogue trader and the mastermind of the Casbalica. It's not hard to do on Footfall. I spent a year working for good old Christo. He was a brave soldier who gave up the ghost in a scuffle with orcs, and then took over his business. Having a good head on your shoulders and keeping the Exalted One in your heart helps to establish new contacts quickly. Eventually, I gathered together a group of honest and loyal people. And it only took a few successful contracts for the Kasbalika to take notice. I quickly settled on footfall and started dispensing my wisdom to my protégés and subordinates. I lost the taste for getting my hands dirty. It really is simple, Shireen. The Kasbalika runs the Imperium's black market, offering special goods to those who can afford their services. Yes, I am talking about Xeno artifacts too. Alien weapons, technology, sometimes even certain kinds of living creatures. Unlike the rogue traders whose sacred warrants make them immune even from the laws of the Exalted One, Kasbalikan agents are used to hiding and covering their tracks. Nobody wants to draw unwanted attention, no matter who might take an interest. Especially now that the Coronis Expanse has a warrior of the Golden Throne as its watchman. Why not? The decision is yours, Shireen. Listen, Shireen, the giver of happiness and the dearest of my friends. I am who I am. A cold trader, a Kasbalikan agent, and your partner. We each have a past, and that past is sealed. I'm not prying into your soul, am I? Well, have pity on mine. It has already been gnawed at by the Aji. And if you don't like the sound of that, we'll just go our separate ways. Deal? All relationships are based on mutual trust. That goes for business too. The language on Ifrit, my home world, is quite different from the one spoken in the Coronis Expanse. We bestow more than one meaning upon each word, allowing our wise men to fully express their sagacious thoughts, and us lowly commoners our base passions and desires. Take Arji, for example. That is what I call every piece of scum and villain, because Arji means evil and foe and pathetic worm unworthy of consideration. Or take Ashmak. It means fool and little brother and blind man who stumbled and would fall into a pit without guidance. Shireen means friend and comrade and roommate in a battle formation, like we are. The youngest child is destined to become a bargaining chip in the family's political... All relationships are based on mutual... Or lucky lady, you mean? My heart has been coveted by proud men with hard eyes, gentle maidens with sensual voices, imperious lords and fierce leaders of void brigands. Only rogue traders have not yet featured among Jae Hedari's intimate friends. Why do you ask, Shireen? Oh, you ruthless, cruel creature. Would you really kill a person purely out of jealousy? Or 2 or 3 people? Rogue traders are a fearsome breed. My heart trembles to witness it. How fortunate then that you will not have to spill the blood of any lovesick innocent, for none has any rightful claim on me. They all languish in their passion at a respectful distance, mourning and cursing their cruel fate. If you are not simply amusing yourself by toying with my feelings, then why not give it a try? Go on. Or, wait. You haven't yet asked how I feel about being your romantic partner. Ask soon, Shireen. I simply cannot reject so ardent an admirer. To insult such sincere passion would be a wicked act in the eyes of the Exalted One. I have no doubt that you are a wonderful conversationalist, Shireen. I will make a note. But if the feelings in your soul have become a fire that is burning you up from within, then you may express them by bestowing a gift upon your humble servant. Oh, Shireen, I did manage to spark your interest. Allow me to invite you to a more private place. May the Exalted One protect you. Have you grown bored with our little talk, Shireen? The youngest child is... All relationships are based on mutual trust. That goes... the dark side? Why not? My trade means knowing the right... I think we've said all there is to say on this topic. Is there a sweeter subject in the universe to discuss, Shireen? You have my full attention. Ask the rose if it likes to receive the kisses of the sun Hush, Shireen. Let's not scare off the wonderful feeling that weaves a pattern of passion between us in silken thread. Then let us both be silent together about this beautiful feeling, Shireen. Oh, I have no doubt you will.
Words cannot describe how boring the bridge is without our stimulating conversations. I know very little about how ordinary couples come together. The books I have read always skirted around that side of life, keeping silent on the matter. A heartfelt poem, perhaps? I'm not sure Jae enjoys poetry, though. I have enjoyed your company.
Greetings. Yes, I'm ready. I would ask only one thing of you, Rogue Trader. If I may, I would like to see the chamber of the Sacred Warrant and kneel before...
You have my complete attention. Mistress Hadari is a dangerous person, and dangerous people like dangerous things. Jae is probably partial to good weapons. She even has a small but enviable collection. Such a gift would not only be practical given her perilous trade, but it would also show that you have taken an interest in her as a person and her tastes. Such demonstrations are very important when dealing with people with whom you would like to curry favor.
Lord Captain. I used to give Genusian lilies to the girl I liked, but the species long since extinct. Now it lives only in my memory. Ask someone else, Your Ladyship. I'm Lord Captain.
Messiah, no. Given the high status of the unit von Valancius and her services rendered to the Adeptus Mechanicus, perhaps then, hypothetically, in time she would be able to compensate for a small portion of the sacrileges she has committed against the Omnissiah. It would be a most generous gift. However, this may your labors be
Well, it would have to be something that screams, "Look how much the rogue trader loves me," in the faces of everyone she meets. Like a fabulous gown beyond anything that even the noble women of Dargonus can acquire. A princess of smugglers would love the opportunity to rub the nobility's noses in her newfound privileges. Of course.
Lord Captain, your presence is welcome. And I wish to apologize for my prior coldness. After our first meeting, I was concerned that you would turn out to be another faithless offshoot of the
If you want to do her good, give her a dose of conscience and a fear of the Emperor. That is what she truly needs. But if you want to please her, give her some meaningless jewelry, expensive and shiny. Such baubles wield magical power over hearts like hers. Greetings. If such is the rogue trader's wish, although there isn't much I can tell, I am the Emperor's daughter and his servant. What else is there to know? Now that I can tell you, I come from everywhere and nowhere. I am the child of officers of the Imperial Guard. I was born in the hold of a warship. Grew up following my parents' deployments from one planet to another, and lost my family in the flames of a righteous war. My memory is like wafts of smoke over a still battlefield. The gray of a ship's plating, the strict cadence of life in military camps. My mother's uniform, I loved looking at it. Then, that battle, the rumbling, the shouting, and the soot, the screams of soldiers burning alive, and the gold of the regiment's Aquila, untouched by soot or blood, the last unsullied piece of a world that was going mad. That was my last memory of my mother. And of my former life, before the Progenium and the novitiate, before my trials, before the vows. My own relic. It's the regiment's Aquila, or rather, the fragment that survived the attack, the explosions, and the fire. For me, it's a reminder that purity and radiance can be preserved even in the heart of darkness. Become. It's such a strange word for it. It seems right, but is that how one talks about their destiny? If you're asking about the path itself, that's easy enough to answer. First, like many other orphans, I endured the Progenium. Those years were rough, but I remember the hardship fondly. Few things can compare with the feeling of satisfaction from a past trial, even if it leaves your body aching from exhaustion or your soul wincing in pain. I was one of the best among my peers, and I was selected for the novitiate in the ranks of the Adeptus Sororitas. When the hour came, I passed the trials and took my vows. The most joyous day of my life. The Emperor's light has always been with me, but to accept it with all your heart, to utter the oaths, that is a rapture like no other. Have I ever... But that would be shameful weakness, almost heresy. Of course not. I was born for this. I live by the Emperor's will, and in his light, I myself am the light. I must be the light. For myself, and for those who ask for my protection. I was chosen to serve. But beyond that, I won't deny it. Few things elate me as much as the thought that the heretic felled by my shot will never again orphan a child. It is my pleasure to be candid. Of course, my mission is all I can think about. To find the way to the planet called Salus Prime. Saint Argenta is my patroness, and that is where her fallen ship is. And it must also be the resting place of her great relic, the One Star. Gladly. Listen. Long ago, there was a blessed world. Thousands of stars covered the sky there, so bright that its denizens hardly knew the darkness of night. Thousands of rivers nurtured the soil. Thousands of gardens bloomed every spring, and at every moment, thousands of prayers were flying into the clear air, thanking and praising the Emperor. But one day, the people learned the meaning of darkness. Like a storm, accursed heretics who had sold themselves to the archenemy descended upon the planet. Shells flew from the sky that desolated whole cities and burned the gardens and filled the riverbeds with the blood of the faithful. Smoke and soot swallowed the skies and the 1,000 stars that had once shone over the world. Among the handful of survivors was one orphan who had watched all her family die and the garden she'd grown up in burn to ash. But in her heart, she knew the absolute truth. Just these 3 words. The Emperor protects. And knowing that, she never black, terrifying, smoke-covered sky. There were no more bright stars to be seen. Except for one. The one star. The bright star. The silver star shone in the sky, and when the orphan smiled at it, the one star fell right into her hands. All the faithful in every corner of the continent who saw the trail of the falling star recognized it as an omen and went looking for the place where it landed, and they rallied together, and with the light of the one star, they found their salvation. Yes, that was the beginning of her hagiography. It is known that she lived on a world where heretics staged a terrible insurrection. They wiped out all life on the planet, except those whom Saint Argenta managed to save with the one star, and with the strength of her faith. After that, she traveled between worlds, gripped by turmoil on her ship marked with a silver star, and brought hope to the faithful. Numerous accounts confirm this. Her coming helped people turn the tide of the war and wipe away corruption before the Imperium's main forces even arrived. Millions of people owed their lives to her, but the heretics, having realized their imminent defeat, sent the remnants of their forces after the ship with the silver star. It fell from the skies onto an obscure world. There are no definitive records of how old Argenta was at the time. In some chronicles, she's even called the Child Saint, but their credibility is questionable. Either way, she didn't live long, but she left a bright trail in her wake, like a falling star. If I only knew. Neither the hagiography nor the legends give a straight answer. Classical iconographers believed that the star turned into a banner woven from silver thread, which, when brought onto the battlefield, would shed light that blinded only heretics, but did no harm to the faithful. Most of them portrayed Saint Argenta as a girl carrying this banner. Others think that upon falling from the sky, the one star became a holy chainsword, which Argenta later used to strike down monsters and enemies of the Imperium. In some of the earlier engravings, Argenta is depicted wearing power armor with a silver star on her chest. One theological theory suggests that this armor was, in fact, the relic. Some even think that the one star is actually the ship on which Argenta traveled. I feel that my undertaking will be fulfilled when I find the answer that has eluded the Ecclesiarchy for millennia. I pray we find the way to Salus Prime soon. The ruinous powers must be aligned against us. They stand in the way of faith. One day we will reach Salus Prime and stand before the gates of Saint Argenta's ship. I know it. I believe.
May the Exalted One protect you. Have you grown bored with our little talk, Shireen? Oh, Shireen, there you are. I've been waiting for you. Sating a hunger greater than any bodily appetite. My curiosity. You see, a person's face, their clothes, their manner is all just a mask. Smoke from the lips of a fire breather designed to hide the truth. But the contents of chests and cupboards, they are the reflection of the soul, in which the wise can glimpse another's heart. I have been wondering what kind of person you truly are. Rash, Shireen, and careless. Aren't you forgetting that I'm a smuggler, an unscrupulous cold trader? What if I've stolen something? You really are. How else am I to prove my innocence, Shireen? Keep going, Shireen. You will strike. Thank you. I loved the gift sharing. Everything the rogue trader desires.